What's up, everybody? Arg the Pirate here, and today we're gonna break down the proof of concept number 4 from MetaBuff, going over core. And guys, we've got some big news in this one. I have had a couple of people tell me, "Hey man, your videos are long," so I'm gonna try to break this one up and do one big point and the smaller points in one video, and then another big point and some smaller points in the second video. We'll see how that happens. It depends on how long it is. I'm gonna shoot for like a 15-20 minute video, but first, let's talk about a few things. Now, if you haven't noticed, here, let's go ahead and check this out, guys. Me, Mongoose, and Mandy Mall are doing a kind of podcast stream type thing where we just go over weekly updates, things like that, over kind of all things Paragon. You know, yeah, I'm sure y'all get what I'm saying. But it's called For the Minions, and you can find us on Twitch, as well as I will upload them to YouTube because it's, you know, YouTube, that's my platform, right? So, if you're interested, we're doing that. If you want to come and give your input live, well, I'll come out with the video saying our schedule if we ever get to that point. You know, we're still kind of testing, but highly recommend y'all going and checking that out. The next thing is, guys, don't forget about the shirts. Now, again, man, I think these shirts are just awesome. They look super cool. I still haven't got mine yet, but if you're interested in the shirt, all the proceeds, you can see right here, all the proceeds are going to go to MetaBuff from this because, again, they're not really doing anything to bring in revenue, and I want to help them out. If y'all have any questions or want to see new shirts, we can get more colors. You know, we've got a couple of different colors. I should probably clean it up, make it a little nicer, but if you're interested, let me know. If you have some things, I'm working on another shirt as we speak, so just another thing. But all right, let's get into it. Enough time wasted on that. Let's get into this and talk about things. Now, I'm gonna go way out of order, so guys, I highly recommend going and checking out the original MetaBuff video. They break things down, and you know, yeah, I'm kind of going a little bit deeper, so check them out. Link is in the description. Link for everything is down in the description, guys. All right, again, we got to get into this. So, now the first thing I want to talk about is, let's see, right here, guys, core powers. Now, again, this is proof of concept. Excuse me while I drink some water. But this is proof of concept, so there are a lot of things that might never even make it to real testing, depending on how we react to everything, and we'll really be able to voice our opinions about things. And guys, I highly recommend voicing your opinions on things, whether you like them, whether you don't like them, anything like that. And core powers is one of the first things that I'm not a fan of. Now, if y'all remember in my Rip Me video that I did over Smite, where I said, hey, you know, I miss Paragon so much, I just can't handle playing Smite anymore. You know, I did kind of talk about Relics. That was a big thing for me. And it coming to Paragon is not something that I really want to see. Now, there are a few things, a few reasonings behind that. And if you don't know, here, we'll go back to that deal. Core powers are basically relics from Smite, or what do they call them in League? Like summoner spells, something like that. It's basically an active, right? You have your 4 abilities, you've got your items or your cards, which Smite doesn't do active cards really, or active items. You have these 2 special actives. You know, Smite, we always had Blink, we always had Meditation Cloak, which is from Smite. That's the one that gives you health and mana back. You know, we called it Quenching Scales. We had, you know, kind of beads in a sense of Purification Sensor. You know, we had, what was the Magic Shield? I forget the name of it, but you know, we had magic, you know, the bubble that you put around people in Smite. We had the same thing in Paragon. They were just cards that took up a card slot, and you couldn't put them on at the beginning of the game. You know, sure, you could build up 5 CXP, put on Blink right away, but you're going to be terrible. You know, these were mid to late game active abilities that, you know, again, they were the exact same as Relics. We just, you know, we didn't have them at the beginning of the game. And that was one thing that's traditional in other MOBAs, but, you know, very, very unique with Paragon. And I don't know, but basically, the powers are available to everybody. So again, Blink, Phantom Veil, you know, all that kind of good stuff. which, who knows, Phantom Veil might not be a thing. But again, you pick them in the draft lobby, which, you know, in Smite, they're picked right at the beginning of the game, and once you pick them, you've got them forever. They have a massive gameplay, you know, impact. You know, having Blink on your mid lane, you know, you can be very, very aggressive and get that very, very sneaky early game kill at level 2, as long as you're, you know, playing Blink around your cooldowns, things like that. They have very long cooldowns, so, you know, probably 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, something like that, which, you know, that's not uncommon. And every action in the match, it leads to upgraded powers. Now, this is something that is unique to Core. You know, you didn't really upgrade your relics in Smite with game time, and, you know, the more minions you kill, the powerful they get. Like, you know, and I don't know how that's exactly going to work. Maybe you blink for further, or maybe it just has a shorter cooldown, something like that. Every minion drops it by a second. You know, who knows? But you didn't have that. You just had the, you know, 500 gold, boom, you upgrade that next item. So we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, again, I'm just not a huge fan of relics, guys. I don't like actives, you know, especially someone that's, you know, since my content is mainly for the, you know, casual or lower level player, you know, trying to advance a little bit. You know, actives are one thing that, you know, I think to utilize them to their fullest potential is a much higher level thing. So that furthers the distance, you know, the gap between high level and low level play, as well as I think it encourages, you know, solo people that play by themselves. It encourages them to do things that they couldn't normally do, like invade the jungle very early. If you have, let's say, Blink or Meditation Cloak, something like that, you know, you're a little better off. Even you know, the Swift Boots, or, you know, the slow down AOE, whatever it's called. You know, that encourages you to play aggressively, you know, play recklessly every 2 minutes, and I'm just not a fan of that. You know, in the same way, if you're in like the ADC lane and you know your support has a Meditation Cloak or, you know, Magic Shield, you know, that every you know, second or third lane wave, you know, you can play hyper aggressive and just dive them, because boom, you're going to get that health back. And I don't know, you know, the argument can be made that, hey, you know, you're relying on your support, and you know they have cloak up, you know that it's ready to go, so you can't play that way. But again, you're not relying on that hero. Anybody can have Meditation Cloak. You're relying on them to, you know, you're not relying on their kit and who they are necessarily. You're just relying on them to press that one active button. So we'll see how that turns out in Paragon. Again, I'm not a fan of it in Smite. I've got, you know, 1,000 hours into Smite. I much preferred the actives from Paragon that were cards that had impact to the game and kind of changed the way you approached your hero, because it affected their build. It affected, are they going to do more damage? Are they going to be a more sustained hero? You know, it affected these things. And when you just get to pick whatever you want at the beginning, you know, it doesn't add that just little sense of counter building and knowing how your hero performs, in my opinion. But again, that's kind of that's just my thoughts on the relics. I'm just not a fan of them at all in Smite, and to be honest, they were one of the biggest things that I didn't care for in Smite. So I don't necessarily want to see them come to Paragon or to Core. And you know, is what it is. There are also going to be 2 types of damage. Now, if you are an earlier, you know, if you played back in Legacy, you would, I'm sure you remember, yeah, there were 2 types of damage. We had energy and we had physical, I believe it was. Energy and physical, I think that's right. But basically, you know, heroes had, yeah, they had their different types of abilities. Basically, your basic attack did this damage, and you know, everything else did ability damage. So, you know, if they've got a team full of Gideons and you build nothing but, you know, you could have just everybody just build one item of magic or energy protection, and boom, you're good. You know, like, they're not going to be able to do anything to you. So I think I always liked that aspect. I liked the two different damages. I thought it was a very unique thing, and it definitely was. But I don't know if it was good for gameplay. I think it's going to be important to see coming up in the future if that does make it to the game, and we'll just have to wait and see. It will be nice balancing it, but one thing I'm absolutely excited for is individual stat scaling. Now, okay, I tried to edit this video up, but I did a pretty poor job of it. Sorry about that, guys. But one thing is, yeah, you have the individual item scaling, or just scaling. So like Steel's basic attack. Let's say for every power you put on, Steel gains 1 damage, right? Scaling is going to be a little bit different than that for Steel, hopefully. But if you put it on Murdoch gains 2 basic attack damage. But Steel's Shield Slam will upgrade 1-for-1 damage. In Murdoch's shotgun, his blastback shotgun, it will only scale at 0.5 damage. So you can see that kind of distinguishes. Maybe I'll put some text on the screen or something like that to kind of emphasize my point. But Murdoch's basic attacks scale faster or scale just higher in general than Steel's basic attacks, but his ability attacks don't scale quite as fast as Steel's, and I always liked that idea. I thought that was a really cool thing, and it was a shame whenever they kind of got rid of that. So we'll definitely see if that's something that's going to be added in, because I'm definitely a fan of it if it's handled correctly. Now, lastly, before I go ahead and kind of split this video in half, let's see, what am I at? I can't even tell how long I've been doing it. So, I think I'm going to cut it in half right here, but they are planning on releasing all 38 heroes from Paragon as soon as possible. And that's pretty big. So, if you were a big fan of a Let's Play hero, like, let's say Grim, they're going to add that. If you were a fan of, I know Mongoose is a big Richter fan. He's going to be in there. So yes, your heroes. I've even got one of my buddies is a huge fan of Zinx. Which it doesn't matter how you felt about Zinx. If everybody wants their favorite heroes to be back in the game, and it looks like Core's going to do that. So very happy to see that. One thing to consider guys, is none of this is set in stone. None of this is set in stone. It's not even a pre-alpha. This is a proof of concept. These are just ideas that they're getting from the community, they're implementing in the game, or just even breaking them down. They're writing them on a list and having a board meeting where they're going, yes, no, yes, no. And so all this stuff, it might not be in the game. The dual damage might not be in the game. The individual scaling might not be in the game. But really, the mini game that you play with the collectors, that might be removed. The random spawn camps in the jungle, that might be removed. So really, Metabuff, I have been talking to them quite a bit, and they are definitely interested in giving us what we want. So if you have thoughts or opinions about any of it, guys, make sure to jump in their Discord, make sure to get on their YouTube page, just let them know. You can even tell me if you have an idea, and I will be happy to make a video over it. But I think I'm going to wrap this one up. Before I do, guys, check this out. Level 15. Level 15 right there. That's very cool. I didn't like when they switched to level 20 because level 20, it was really useless getting to that point. And like some other MOBAs, like Smite that go to 20 where each level has 5 levels, or each ability has 5 levels. Paragon had 4, and it also made leveling up slower because, we reached level 15 at, 30, 35 minutes into the game, where in Smite, you reach level 20 at, 20 to 25 minutes into the game, depending on how great you're farming. And so I do like level 15, and I'm happy to see that again. Of course, they might go to level 20, and this just might be a hats off to Paragon type thing, but very, very cool. Well, I'll see y'all in the part 2 episode. And thanks for watching, guys.